Hi, this is Denise Matthew. I hope you're doing well. Back again for another week of the transits. And before I get into the transits, I just want to quickly mention that the Mandala of Life continues moving forward. And I'm having a lot of interaction on the community page with people. So thank you so much for writing comments. I really appreciate it. I love interacting with everybody and hearing about your stories and your experiences, how you feel the transits and those types of things. So I'm thrilled to have the communication with you guys. And other than that, we have a few planets that are moving this week. And so let's get into it. So right now the sun is in the gate 2, and the gate 2 is all about our direction in life. This is actually a mutative energy because it is an individual energy. And we seem to be going through a few of the mutative energies in the mandala. They just sort of, that's the way they're falling, because the next one will be the gate 23. Now, the whole thing about the gate 2 is it is where the magnetic monopole is said to reside, which is where we get our direction in life. It's that inner knowing about where we're going. A lot of times we go outside ourselves and we try and find our direction through other people. We will go and ask people for our direction and those types of things. And while those are always helpful to aid us in our decisions, ultimately we have an inner knowing of where we are going in our lives. And sometimes we block out that inner knowing, and we let the mind step in and say, well, maybe you don't know what you're actually talking about. So the key with this is truly to try and work with your strategy and authority and to see if it's directing you where you want to go. The universe has a plan for you, and the magnetic monopole is literally the place where it's communicating with you and saying, okay, we have a trajectory for you, we have a place for you, we have a destiny and life purpose, and you just have to be aware and open to what you receive. The thing about the gate 2 is that it will give you a direction, and because we are collectively biased, I mean, that's just the way it is. As a collective, we are collectively biased. And what I mean by collectively biased, I mean we do rely a lot on logic as well as abstract, so the collective energies. We always are looking at patterns of the past when we talk about the abstract energy, and we're looking at patterns of the future when we're talking about the logical energy. Now, when we get into any individual energy, we're always looking in the moment, in the present moment, in the now. So rather than looking in the future or the past, we're looking in this particular moment, which is difficult because there is no pattern. So if you are trying to convince people what's actually going to be happening, you can't actually do that because you don't know. There is a lot of not knowing until there is knowing. And that's kind of how it goes. It's like it pulses in and pulses off. And that's what the whole individual energy looks like. So the thing about the gate 2 and pretty much all individual energy is just to rest in the understanding that the answers will come eventually, and they don't come on our time, they come on universal time. So in other words, when it is ready for us to know, we will be given a direction, and we will be given a direction for our lives. But many times we'll only be given a direction. We won't know the outcome. We won't know our destination, where it's actually going to happen. So in other words, the GPS has got all the coordinates plugged in for us, but we don't have access to where we're actually going. We do know that the coordinates have been plugged in, but we don't know exactly where we're going. And that is difficult for a lot of us because of the collective energy, because of this need to have an outcome and the knowledge of what exactly am I doing? Where am I going? So this is that moment where we look at the whole higher self, which is said to reside within this energy, of course, because it is the magnetic monopole. The higher self is that inner knowing that tells us this is where you're meant to go. And we all have our own messages. So as soon as we're trying to live someone else's story or live someone else's destiny or live someone else's direction, then that's when we have trouble, because we're not actually aligning with what's right with us, for us. And that is the key with this energy, whether you have it defined or not. The gate 2, everyone has a magnetic monopole. Ra who talked about it, and many people talk about it. It's like a cable car where you hook up and it takes you on the trajectory of your life. It's not necessarily telling you, but it's guiding you. And there's this inner knowing that says, yes, this is where I'm meant to go. And a lot of times we get so stuck in our mind, especially if we look at back last week, we're talking about the gate 24, there's whole spinning ideas of wanting to know answers. And so like, think about this, you have the gate 2, you have this direction and you want direction, and the gate 24 is, if you have that energy, or you're being influenced by that energy, all you're thinking about is well, I want to know the unknowable. I want to know my destination. So when we're looking at our body graphs, we have to look at all those different places where we can sort of not really see the whole picture, but be okay with that, because it is existential energy. And we are experiencing a lot of existential energy or in the now energy this week because of the large amount of individual energy that's in play. So the other thing that the gate 2 is, it's a very yin energy. We're coming out of a yang energy, the quarter of initiation, and the gate 2 begins a yin quarter. It's just more of a receptive quarter. You could say feminine, but not necessarily female, just feminine, more of a receptive energy as opposed to a yang energy, which is about a lot of thought and action. And basically the yang energy that we're coming out of was the initiation, which is really a lot of this thought energy, figuring out where you want to go, getting concepts of your mind and those types of things. When we get to this energy, we're starting to look at how can we bring those things that we've been thinking about for the last quarter, how can we bring them into manifestation? How can we bring them into this world in real form? So that's what this whole quarter is about, this quarter of civilization. And it does talk to the idea of manifestation, because there's no mistake that every one of the throat gates reside in this quarter. So that's what we're sort of stepping into, this wanting to make something real, make something manifest, bring something into the Maya, and finding the direction to put the mutation. So basically we're saying we have this inspiration, we have this new idea, where are we going to direct it? The gate 2 is connected to the 14 as a channel. So you have the 214. And we have to remember that the sacral energy, or the sacral motor, is one of the most powerful motors in the body graph. So this is the fuel for the gate 2. You could say that the gate 2 is the pedal and the gate 14 is the fuel that makes it happen. So in other words, if you have the gate 2, the gate 14 is going to give you what you need to make it happen, to make it go forward. So you can allocate those resources, but you need the resources to allocate. And that's where the gate 14 comes in. And we have possessions in great measure. We've got a lot of energy talking to finding our direction in the world. Where are we going to go? Where are we going to make those things that we want to happen in our lives? So these are the kind of questions that we might be asking ourselves this week. If we look at the gate 1, the opposition to the gate 2, because the earth is always going to be in opposition to the sun, we see that it's the gate 1, which is create. The interesting thing is that we do have some full channels happening this week. We have the earth in the gate 1, and we also have Venus in the gate 8. So this is making a complete channel, and it really does talk to this idea of, remember that the 8-1 is connected to the identity center, and that goes directly to the throat. So you are actually speaking about yourself, your true identity, who you are. You are speaking about that when you have this energy, the 8-1. Now, if you carry this as an energy, a lot of times you can speak from your soul, basically, the very core of who you are. And if people don't actually respond the way you want them to respond, then it can be a little bit disheartening and also kind of soul crushing. And you might not tell people exactly what you're thinking anymore. That might be the energy we feel this week, that we feel that is, if we are expressing ourselves in our authenticity, people may not receive it the way we want. And if they don't, we may feel upset by it. The key with this is that it is a projected energy. If we use it as a projected energy, and we know that with all projected energies, an invitation to speak your truth, to say what you want to say, will always work well. Because people, the whole concept is that you're almost like you're priming the pump, you're priming someone's aura when they actually give you an invitation. So they're saying, I'm going to receive what you have to say, and suddenly they're open. They might not necessarily agree or love what you have to say, but at least they will take it in a way that they're not sort of criticizing you and making you feel less than, because you've actually expressed who you are, expressed what you want to say. Because this is a creative expression of the self, but it's a creative expression that wants to have an impact on people. You have other parts of individuality that it really is just about the self, and whether people get you or not is not so important. And although this is about your individual energy, and really whether people get you or not, well, that's their thing. But ultimately, you do want to have some level of potential to expand who you are. Like when we get to this energy, it is about this being a role model, a creative role model for being yourself. In other words, people like who you are, what you're doing, and they want to follow you because of that. So that's the kind of expression. But remember, because it is a projected energy, it is key that you prime the pump. You get the go ahead to say what you want to say, and when that happens, it can be magical. It can be much better than sort of wanting to crawl in a hole because someone made you feel less than because you expressed who you were. On May 9th, we have the sun moving into the gate 23, one more individual energy. The thing about the gate 23 is it is one of the three oppositions. There are three oppositions. There's 3420, there's the 3740, and there's also the 2343. So a lot of people potentially can have this channel defined because it is going to be in the earth as well. The 43 is going to be the earth, which is the electromagnetic, and we also have the gate 23. So when we think about the sun and the earth and the way they work together, the sun is filtering the neutrinos or filtering the energy, and then the earth is trying to make it manifest. And if you look at these two energies, they work quite well together. I mean, they are in opposition, yes, but they are also electromagnetic. They're a full channel. So what this is saying is that we have this energy of you're getting a download, and this is usually auditory information because most individual energy, it is auditory. In other words, you may be more inclined to be able to listen to things, get more out of listening as opposed to visually or writing or something like that. But you also have to remember that you have many different energies within your body graph, so you might respond to different modes no matter what. But there might be one that actually kind of stands out for you, and that's something that you can sort of work on and figure out how it works for you. But we have the gate 23, which is basically taking things apart. So you have this inspiration in the gate 43. It's a big inspiration, and you want to make it manifest because, of course, that's what we want to do. We want to take these mutative new things and inspirations, and we want to bring them into the real world. We want to change the world. I mean, I think that that's a big thing for a lot of us. We want to make some sort of an impact on the world. So that's where this energy comes in. You get this download or this information that seems like it may go somewhere. The gate 23 it's almost like a decoder. It decodes that information that came from your inspiration or mutation or the pulse or whatever. And it allows other people to hear the information, to understand the information, and maybe even be able to help you to make this actually happen. And this, again, just like the 1-8, is a projected energy. So in other words, getting people ready, having their aura open to what you have to say will always be a better experience. They may not, of course they may not always understand, and that's okay. But ultimately it is about try and make it the best it can be. It's like if you plant a garden, you want to have everything the best. Whether or not the seeds will grow is not something that you can control, but you will know that if everything is the best it can be, then at least you've given it a fighting chance to actually get ahead. And that's what this energy is all about. As soon as you're waiting for an invitation or you're being invited into telling people what you think, it's basically going to give you the best situation that you can to grow what you need to grow. The other thing about the gate 23 is that it really is an economy of words. In other words, you just want to say as few words as you need to get your point across. People can get confused by what you have to say sometimes. And so if you're trying to digress into a long-winded explanation of exactly what you want to explain or what you want to say, then people might get lost in the explanation. So when the sun moves into the gate 23 on May 9th, it really is going to be vital for you to pay attention to trying to keep things economical. Try and use as few words as possible to get your point across. And you might have a lot more luck with actually getting people to get on board with what you have to say or to understand what you have to say if you're more economical with your words. Now, Mercury has slowed down because we do have a Mercury retrograde at the end of this month. So you will notice that we will only be going through maybe 2 gates and actually at some point we'll go only through 1 gate per week because it is slowing down so much. So right now Mercury's in the gate 20, and this talks to unity. This talks to being in the present moment. This is talking to right action. This is individual energy. This is about me and how I'm moving through the world, my charisma, how I how things interact with me, how things affect me. But there is some level of unifying energy that comes with this, in that it is about just being the truest expression of yourself. And when we're all sort of being ourselves, we all are unified with our differences. And that's kind of what we can feel. It is about surrendering to life, showing us the way of where we're meant to go. The gate 20 is connected to, it's an unusual gate in that it has a couple different gates that it actually links to make a full channel. It links to the gate 57, the gate 34, and also the gate 10. So it's a special gate, and it's from the integration circuit. The integration circuit is probably some of the most individual energy that really is about survival and taking care of the self and those types of things. So it is about my way and finding my way, as in, it's important that I express myself exactly the way I want to and the way I need to. And conformity can be more of something that doesn't flow with you when you carry this energy. So this could be when we're talking about Mercury, people just talking about people being charismatic, something as simple as that. People showing up in the world who are saying things that, wow, that, that person definitely has some level of charisma. It could be that people are talking about unification, working together to fix some problems that are showing up. And I mean, right now we've had a lot of COVID coming back into play, collapsing of health resources. Argentina, apparently their hospitals are full, and India, we know, is in terrible crisis. And there are a lot of places that are feeling it around the world. And so maybe there's this unification of, yes, we are surviving. I mean, it is about survival, but we need to find a unification of trying to help people whatever way we can. And so maybe that might be something that we're seeing in the news. We also do have Venus going in on the 9th of May. So we do have this energy that's going to stick around for a while, this unification. With Venus going in there, Venus is actually an exaltation in line 2, I believe, actually in line 1 and 2. And so hopefully it will bring more of a positive spin to this energy so that we can start to sort of spread the abundance or spread the resources to people, because ultimately Venus talks to resources, it talks to relationship, it talks to getting along with each other. But this still remains as an individual. You are having a relationship, but you're always retaining your individuality or your need to be who you are, and to the point where it's all about surviving. It's all about survival of the self, of who you are, the integrity of who you are, your authenticity, that type of thing. That energy is going to be in play. It'll be interesting to see how it works. And on May 8th, we have the Mercury going into the gate 16. And so when it goes into the gate 16, it's going to be meeting the North Node. So what that does is it gives more of a conversation about the North Node, a conversation about the road, because we know that the nodes are the path that we are walking. So right now, as a collective, our path is the gate 16 and also the gate 9. Those are the collective paths that we're walking. The gate 9 is something that we're moving away from because the South Node, and the gate 16 is the place we're moving toward. So when we talk about the gate 16, we talk about enthusiasm. We're talking about new skills, learning new skills, maybe getting out into the world and doing things that you've never done before, changing it up, because maybe the skills, for instance, maybe the skills that you had previously are no longer valid anymore. So for instance, if there's unfortunately, a lot of restaurants had to close. And so maybe you worked in a restaurant. And so now you're looking at different skills that you might bring to your world so that you can have more of an opportunity to have different things to do, or more skills that you can use in your life. And when we have the North Node, there can be this hunger to get more of it. So there could be a hunger to get more skills, to get more things that you want to do, to more learning. The thing about the gate 16 is that there could be just jumping in and grabbing and not really getting into the depths of things. So that's something that you might want to watch out, that just jumping from one thing to the other without really spending much time in anything, because it's all about just getting in and finding out more about the information and then sort of moving on. There is potential for mastery in this energy, but again, it is about sticking with something rather than just jumping in and jumping out. Right now, Venus is in the great gate 8, and it is, as I said, is working with the gate 1, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes. This is a creative role model. So when we talked about, Ra Uruhu talked about this, and he said that the gate 1 was the artist and the gate 8 was the art dealer, I guess you could say. So the gate 1 is expressing themselves creatively, and the gate 8 is setting up a place where they can be seen by the collective for their art, or for what they're actually producing. So that's why these energies really work well together, because without the other, you're really good on one side, you might have the art gallery but no art, or you might have all the art but no art gallery. So that's why they work really well together. When they come together, maybe we can start to put things together where we're getting ourselves out into the world and being seen by the world for what we can do, our individuality. Mars right now is in the gate 52, and it will be in there. And like I said, Mars is now going through Cancer in astrology. So all these gates that we're going through for the next little while will be in Cancer. So they are sort of this energy of Mars not feeling so comfortable in this energy, not feeling happy here, because it is a different type of energy. It is more of an emotional type of energy. So we know that the gate 52 is working with the gate 9, so it's going to slow down that frenetic energy of the gate 9, where it could be almost get to the small details of this and that, and not seeing progress, and wondering if you're ever going to get progress, and wanting to have everything, all the things together, but not understanding that every little step that you take eventually does lead to something bigger. But with the gate 52 there, it is going to slow down the energy a little bit. And yes, you could have your focus, but you're looking at the big picture and the small picture as well. Although Mars might get a little frenetic and a little, let's push forward and get this done, because Mars can be very assertive. Just something to keep in mind, that there could be that focus, but also that urgency to get it done faster. That could be there as well. May 9th, we have Mars moving into the gate of provocation, gate 39. Now we know that the gate 39 does hook up to the gate 55. And what's interesting, again, like what I found is quite interesting about the transits this week, is that we have a lot of definition or full channels being formed. And in this way, we have, it's not necessarily this week, but it will start when Jupiter moves. Now, Jupiter is going to move finally from the gate 30 on May 15th. It's going to move into the gate 55. And for about 3 days or so, from about the 18th or 19th, we're going to have a full channel, the 3955, which is going to give an emotional energy, an emotional need, provocation, those types of things. So that's potential. But when we have just the gate 39, we are talking about Mars in it, and Mars is going to be assertive and pushing forward, and sometimes aggressive. So we have aggressively being provocative. Sometimes it could be because you just want to have fun, and sometimes it is because you want to raise their spirit. The whole point of it is that it hooks into the gate 55, and it is all this abundance of spirit, of understanding that the universe does have our back. The universe does have a plan for us, and the universe will support us. But this is the 39, which says, okay, I'm going to tell you that the universe, it's almost like wake up and understand that the universe is supporting you. And that doesn't always go over exactly the way people want. It could be just, like I said, poking somebody and saying, oh, that was kind of fun to see a reaction. So on the high side, this is about waking the spirit up and understanding that we are being supported, we are being provided, and the universe does have our back. On the other side, it could be just poking people and trying to get a result. And I think if you look at a lot of these trends on TikTok and sometimes YouTube, and really provocative types of things that they're doing to provoke some sort of a reaction from people, but ultimately a lot of them are actually getting to the point where they're getting problematic, and people are getting hurt, or those types of things. So that could be what we see gone wrong, where people are just trying to get some sort of a reaction, but it can fall flat. So back to the point of where we are, is understanding that it's a provocation to light someone's fire, to light someone up and say, yes, the universe does have your back. You just have to be open to looking for the signs, or open to the invitation from the universe, or open to seeing something beyond what you see right in your manifest world. This is beyond the Maya. This is beyond what we see. This is about connecting with our spirit and that inner knowing that we talked about with the great gate 2. individual energy. It's all about sort of that inner knowing of discovering who we are, and that we do have a destiny, and we do have a purpose, and we all have a purpose. We're not here just by chance. We are here on purpose. And if you can remember that in your tough times, and know that you will get a glimpse of the future, you will get a glimpse of eternity. And it may be just for the, I say sometimes you just look in the peripheral view, you see a flash of something, and that might be something that you don't really even know what it is, but you know there's something there. And if you can just hold on to knowing that there is something bigger than you opening up for you, in its own timing, not your timing, then that can sometimes get you through those moments of despair, or just not really understanding. Because with this individual energy, the other key theme is that we might see more melancholy, we might see more of this melancholy, and so that could be a theme as well. Also, there could be this level of wanting to create something, wanting to push your energy into something that is going to manifest in this world. So if we have these moments of melancholy, understand that they're part of who we are, they're part of being human, and understanding that if we can start to try and direct them in something that we love doing, that can just help us work with the energy, as opposed to allowing the energy to bottle up inside of us and just feeling like we're going to explode with despair, or whatever it feels like for us. And like I said, Jupiter is making a big change. It is going from the gate 30, which is all about holding on to that experience, holding on to that fantasy. Now we're going into the gate 55, which is all about abundance of spirit. Now we think about Jupiter. The really nice thing about Jupiter is that since, I guess, 2020, Jupiter's been in signs. It was in Capricorn, and now it's in Aquarius. And it's been in signs that have been not giving its best form, basically. What it means is that Jupiter is considered the benefic, or it is a beneficial planet. It gives us energy of positivity and good things, and it can get overboard because it is expansive. But what happens is, when it gets in an area where it is not able to be its best self, this is where we're not getting all those benefits. We're not getting all that energy that Jupiter can give us. But what it moves into the gate 55, it is moving into Pisces, and Pisces is its home. It's basically its home. So we're always going to be better in our own homes. It's easier. We know where everything is. We know how we can perform in our own homes. And so Jupiter is going to its own home. So it can give us this abundance of spirit. It can give us this connection to the universal truth, the universal idea that we are being supported, that we do have something that is this universal force that we can't see or touch, or even hear. Maybe some can hear, but that is there, that is sort of propelling us forward. But it also relies on us to open ourselves up to receiving the messages and the inspiration and the way of where we're meant to go. And if we can do that, then it can help us. So there is something to look forward to with Jupiter moving into this into Pisces for a little while at least. Another big thing is we have Neptune finally moving out of gate 22. It's been in there all of 2020, and finally we get a little bit of a break. And whether it's good or not, I don't know, but at least it's different, you could say. So it's moving from May 10th until August 11th. It's a good time to check in on how it feels. Does it feel different? Do you notice things different in your life? Now, if you have the hanging gate 12, you might notice a difference. You might notice that suddenly you might feel a difference in how you emotionally are processing things. And this is also creative energy. So we are moving away from the creativity. We also are moving away from the suffering in with grace too. So we have learned our lesson for a little while about what it looks like to have a human experience, but also to be able to maneuver through life and understand that this is part of the path that we are destined to take, and that there are always going to be parts where it's more difficult, but there are also going to be parts where it's easier. And I think that if anything, 2020 and part of 2021 has, as far as we're gone so far, we've had a fair few bumps in the road that have sort of slowed us off and made us realize that we are shifting, we are understanding how it feels to have those moments. And bigger moments for some people, not as big for others, but ultimately I think we're all changed having had the Neptune move through the gate 22. And again, it will return. But for now, we're going to move into the gate 36, which is really about, we're moving into abstract energy. We're moving into collective energy. Sorry for the wrong visual. I had the wrong gate written. I had the wrong image. So it is the gate 36. I did say the gate 36, and I thought that doesn't look like the gate 36 when I looked at the gate, at the card. But this is still, it is still moving into experiential energy. It is moving into, this is the energy where we have this urge, this need to move into something new, to have an experience, to have an, we're expecting something to happen, to experience something new. And all experience happens in, with the gate 36, you can have a lot of experiences. You don't always have to stick with everything you experience. It could be just about once and done, one and done, as they say. So that's what this energy is about. Now, we can't ignore that there is a potential for crisis in this energy. I mean, that is, it is chaos. It is moving into a new experience, but we don't really know what exactly we're going to get. With Neptune, that type of energy, it can sometimes have the veil over our eyes, and we don't really know what we're getting into with the experience. We don't really know where we're going and what we're going to experience. Now, it could be something amazing, or it could be something that doesn't work out as we like, but that's the key. There could be this idea of really not having a clear perspective of what exactly you're getting into with these experiences, and yet this need to want to jump into something new. And so I think that if you have felt oppressed, or you haven't really moved forward, or it just felt like the last little while, last year and a half has been a little bit oppressive, in that you haven't been able to do what you want to do and go on those trips or whatever, those types of things. There is potential that with Neptune, it might shadow, it might give you this false idea of what you're going to get with the gate 36. So the key with this is that you may not have all the information, you may not have all the facts. So in other words, prepare that if you're going to jump in or have these new experiences, always have some backup plan just in case. If you do, then if something shifts and something shows up that you never knew you were going to have to deal with, at least you have some preparation in the works. And I think that that would be the key with this energy. Yes, the experiences will be there, but I think that what we're going to say here is that we will not know. There is never a knowing with experiential energy anyway, but I think it's kind of heightened with Neptune in this energy, that we really don't know what we're going to get. We might start something and have this expectation of what it's going to be, but it could be completely unrelated to what we thought it would be. And I think expectations, if we could put those on hold and understand that it is about the experience, it is about the journey more than the actual destination, and to roll with the punches as you go, then I think the experiences will work out better. And again, this is just a tester. This is our toe going in the water and saying, this is a new energy. What's it feel like? How's it working for me? If you do have a hanging gate 35, you might feel this energy a little bit more, because it will give you a full definition from the solar plexus. It is an energy that's bringing a motor right to the throat. You're somebody who doesn't have a defined motor to the throat. This might give you a shift, something different, and play with it and see what it feels like for you, and how does experiment with it. And that's the whole key. What does a motor to the throat feel like if you don't normally have one? If you're a generator type or a projector type or a reflector type, and you don't have a motor to the throat, how does it feel when Neptune comes in and connects to your hanging gate 35? Right. So it's just something to think about. It's just something to open up to, because every one of these planetary transits are giving us an opportunity to be open to something new, to feel something new, to be receptive to something new. And when we know how we are operating in relationship to these planetary transits, it's a great way to decipher the channel energy and what it means to us, and what can we get done and what can't we get done, and how do we feel, and do we have melancholy, and do we have emotional swings? What do we have? And when we find those answers to those questions, it's an amazing insight into how we operate, and it can really help us in our trajectory in life and our future, and to really connect with this energy so that we're getting the best out of it. Because ultimately, the whole reason why we look at human design transits, we look at our body graph, we do all these types of things, it's because we want to be the best selves we can be. And ultimately, that's what we're all searching and working toward. And once again, we've come to the end. And if you've stuck around, thank you so much, because I know it was quite a few transits this week. I hope everyone has a super week, and I'll be back again next week. Take care, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.